All right, let's kick off another deep dive into the world of genetics and bioinformatics. Buckle up, because we've got a mountain of research papers and industry news to unpack today, and trust me, it's all pretty groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? This field just keeps accelerating new discoveries practically every day.
Absolutely. And what's really exciting is that it's not just about the science evolving. It's about how we're actually using these technologies, like actually tackling real-world problems with them, diagnosing rare diseases, developing more effective cancer treatments. It's incredible.
Totally agree.
Speaking of rare diseases, there's this article on long-read sequencing that I think you'll find fascinating. It really highlights how this technology is helping us unravel the genetic causes of these diseases that have baffled scientists for ages, really.
Right, because with long-read sequencing, we can look at much larger pieces of DNA at once instead of those tiny fragments we used to work with. It's like, imagine trying to put together a puzzle, but all the pieces are minuscule and look almost identical. That's what it was like before.
Oh, I see. So it's like finally getting those corner pieces,
Yeah.
It gives you a framework, a starting point to understand the rest of the puzzle.
Exactly. And this article talks about this case where a young boy had this mysterious neurological disorder, and doctors just couldn't figure out what was wrong no matter how many tests they ran.
Oh, wow.
And then, bam, long-read sequencing comes in, and they're able to pinpoint a single gene mutation that's responsible for his condition. It's amazing.
That's incredible. It's like a medical miracle, almost.
Yeah.
And to think this is just one example of how this technology is revolutionizing rare disease diagnostics.
Definitely. Think about all those people out there who've been living with undiagnosed conditions for years, their whole lives even. Long-read sequencing is giving them answers, and most importantly, hope. Hope for potential treatments.
It's stories like that that remind me why we do this.
Yeah.
It's about making a real difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
And the advancements don't stop there. Another article we have talks about this new software called Semblance, and it's basically making RNA sequencing more accessible than ever before.
Right. RNA sequencing, it's a powerful tool, It tells us which genes are active in a cell at any given time. But the problem is analyzing that data. Oh, man, it used to be a nightmare. Super complex and
A
time-consuming.
real headache, I bet.
But Semblance, it streamlines the entire process, automates a lot of the steps that used to require manual input from scientists. It's a game changer.
So researchers can get results much faster, which means they can focus on, actually understanding what those gene expression patterns mean, right?
Right.
Instead of getting bogged down in the technical stuff.
Precisely. And the implications are huge, like across so many research areas. Cancer biology, developmental biology, infectious disease research, you name it. RNA sequencing is just so versatile.
And with Semblance, it's accessible to a much wider range of researchers too, right? Even those who might not be bioinformatics experts.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
It's like democratizing science, putting these cutting-edge tools in the hands of more people who can, use them to make a real difference.
I love that, democratizing science.
And that leads us to another exciting development in the RNA sequencing world, using AI to predict cell types. This article, it talks about this new tool called CellKB that uses machine learning algorithms, to analyze RNA sequencing data and figure out what specific type of cell a sample came from.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Our bodies, they're made up of trillions of cells, each with its own specific function. But until recently, identifying and classifying them, especially in complex tissues like the brain or the immune system, it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
It sounds incredibly challenging, to say the least.
It was. But CellKB is changing all that. It's giving us this incredible level of detail to really understand the cellular makeup of our bodies.
And that has huge implications for medicine, right? Because if we can pinpoint the specific types of cells involved in the disease, then we can develop more targeted treatments.
Absolutely. There's some amazing research going on right now using RNA sequencing and AI to identify the cell types driving cancer metastasis.
Metastasis, that's when cancer cells spread to other parts of the body, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the deadliest aspects of cancer. We've struggled for so long to understand it at the cellular level. But now, with these new tools, researchers are starting to uncover the mysteries, figuring out which cells are responsible and what molecular pathways are involved.
So we're talking about potentially stopping metastasis in its tracks.
Exactly. That's the ultimate goal. And this research is a major step toward more effective and less toxic cancer treatments.
It's incredible how these different technologies are coming together to revolutionize medicine. Long-read sequencing, AI, RNA analysis. It's like we're finally cracking the code of human biology.
It really feels that way, doesn't it?
It does. But before we get too caught up in the future, let's take a closer look at some of the other exciting developments happening right now, starting with this groundbreaking technique called RNA tomography.
Ah, yes. RNA tomography. It's pretty remarkable. It basically allows scientists to map gene expression patterns in 3D.
Wait, 3D? Like we can see where genes are active in a tissue sample, not just which ones are active.
Exactly. Imagine going from a flat, two-dimensional view of gene expression to a full-color, three-dimensional model. It's like the difference between a simple X-ray and a high-resolution CT scan.
So we can see exactly where things are happening, how it all fits together in the actual structure of the tissue.
Precisely. And that level of detail is crucial for understanding how tissues function and how diseases develop.
I can see that. It's like zooming in on the cellular world, seeing the intricate dance of life unfolding right before our eyes.
It is quite a sight to behold, and researchers are using it to study all sorts of things, like the development of the brain. Imagine being able to map the intricate patterns of gene expression that create different brain regions and cell types.
It's like watching the brain build itself, cell by cell. And this knowledge, I mean, it could revolutionize our understanding of neurological disorders like autism and schizophrenia, right? Conditions that we think arise from disruptions in brain development.
Absolutely. And it's not just the brain. RNA tomography is being used to study a whole range of tissues, from the heart to the lungs to the immune system. It's giving us this incredible new level of understanding of human biology.
It's amazing. It's like we're peeling back the layers of complexity and revealing the hidden wonders within.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And while we're on the topic of unraveling complexity, there's this article here about a new tool called Canopy 2. It uses bulk DNA and single-cell RNA sequencing to create, well, sort of a family tree of tumor cells.
Right, because tumors, they're not just a single mass of identical cells. They're made up of different cell populations, each with its own genetic quirks and behavior.
It's like a whole ecosystem within the tumor itself.
Exactly. And Canopy 2, it allows researchers to track how these different cell populations evolved within a tumor, how they relate to each other, and how they might respond to different treatments.
So we're talking about personalized cancer therapies, tailored to the specific genetic makeup of the tumor.
That's the goal. By understanding the tumor's evolution, we can target the most aggressive or resistant cells, the ones that are driving the disease. It's a game changer.
It's like having a personalized roadmap for attacking the tumor, hitting it where it hurts.
I like the way you think.
And speaking of targeted attacks, there's also this article about using AI to identify potential drug targets for triple-negative breast cancer, which, as you know, is a particularly aggressive and difficult-to-treat type of breast cancer.
Yes, it's a tough one. And new therapies are desperately needed.
Well, this research offers some hope. Researchers are combining fragment-based drug design with bioisosteric replacement approaches, essentially using AI to screen huge libraries of chemical compounds and pinpoint the ones most likely to bind to specific target proteins involved in the cancer's development.
It's like having a super-powered chemist that can sift through millions of molecules and say, hey, this one looks promising. It's incredible.
It really is. And this approach isn't just limited to triple-negative breast cancer either. It's being used to develop new drugs for all sorts of diseases, from Alzheimer's to HIV.
The potential is just enormous.
Absolutely. And it's not just drug development either. AI is also being used to develop new diagnostic tools. This article I have here, it talks about using AI to analyze medical images, like X-rays and CT scans, to detect signs of disease earlier and more accurately than ever before.
It's like having a second set of eyes, but these eyes are powered by AI and never get tired or miss those subtle details that might be crucial.
So we're talking about earlier detection, which in many cases can mean the difference between life and death, especially for diseases like lung cancer.
Absolutely. And the applications go far beyond cancer, too. We're talking heart disease, stroke, eye diseases, you name it. AI is changing the game in medical diagnosis.
And it's not just about accuracy, it's about accessibility too, right?
Right. Imagine this technology being used in remote parts of the world where access to specialists might be limited. It could truly democratize access to expert-level medical diagnosis.
It's a powerful vision, one I hope we see become a reality soon.
I agree.
And speaking of pushing the boundaries of healthcare, there's this article about a new type of AI-powered medical device. And get this, it can be implanted in the body to monitor and treat chronic diseases like diabetes.
Yeah, these closed-loop systems, They're pretty amazing. They use AI algorithms to constantly monitor things like blood sugar levels and then automatically adjust medication dosages as needed.
It's like having an internal doctor that's always on call, 24/7. That's incredible.
It is. And they're not just for diabetes either. Researchers are working on similar devices for other chronic conditions like heart failure and epilepsy.
The possibilities are endless. It's like science fiction becoming reality right before our eyes.
I know, it's hard to keep up sometimes.
It is. And that brings us to another exciting area where AI is making a big impact. Personalized medicine.
Ah, yes. The idea of tailoring treatments to each individual's unique needs and characteristics. It's the future of medicine. I truly believe that.
This article, it talks about how AI is analyzing patients' genetic data, lifestyle factors, their entire medical history, really, to create these individualized treatment plans.
It's all about moving away from the one-size-fits-all approach and toward therapies that are truly tailored to each individual.
And AI is the key to making that happen, right?
Yeah.
Because it can analyze these massive amounts of data, identify patterns, and predict how a patient might respond to different treatment options.
Exactly. And it's already happening in areas like cancer treatment, where doctors are using AI to decide which patients are most likely to benefit from certain types of chemotherapy or immunotherapy.
It's incredible. So we're talking about more effective treatments, fewer side effects, and better outcomes overall.
That's the goal. And AI is helping us get there faster than we ever thought possible.
But it's not just about treating diseases, it's about preventing them too.
Prevention, absolutely. That's always the best approach.
This article I have here, it talks about using AI to identify people who are at high risk for developing chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes. Imagine that.
It's like having an early warning system for your health. AI can analyze data from your medical records, wearable devices, even social media to spot those subtle signs that you might be headed down a path toward chronic illness.
So it's all about giving people a chance to make lifestyle changes or, seek medical attention before a serious problem develops.
Exactly. It's about empowering people to take control of their health.
And these AI-powered preventative tools, they're getting pretty sophisticated, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are even apps now that can analyze your voice patterns to detect early signs of conditions like Parkinson's disease.
Wow, just wow. AI is truly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare, from diagnosing and treating diseases to preventing them altogether.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure. And we've only just scratched the surface of what AI can do.
I can't wait to see what the future holds. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's dive into some specific examples of how these technological advancements are actually being applied in the real world, making a tangible difference in people's lives.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it. So we've talked a lot about healthcare, but you know what's really cool? It's how these genomic and AI technologies are branching out into other fields too, like agriculture, for example. Did you see this article about AI optimizing tomato harvesting?
Oh, yeah. That one caught my eye, too. They're using this improved YOLO-X technology, which, if I understand it correctly, is like a super efficient object detection algorithm.
Right. And they're using it to identify ripe tomatoes and even their stems for automated harvesting and sorting.
So we're talking robots picking tomatoes, just like that.
Pretty much. And it's not just any picking either. This system can differentiate between ripe and unripe tomatoes and even pinpoint the delicate stems to minimize damage during harvesting.
That's incredible. Talk about precision agriculture.
It's all about reducing waste, improving efficiency, and ultimately making food production more sustainable.
And it's all thanks to AI, right?
Yeah.
It really is amazing to see how these technologies are being applied in such diverse fields.
Absolutely. And speaking of complex systems, we also have some fascinating research on the gut microbiome. There's this study that looked at the early development of the gut microbiome in infants.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
And what's interesting is that despite geographical and cultural differences, there seem to be these universal patterns in how the gut microbiome gets established in those early months of life.
Which is fascinating because the gut microbiome plays such a huge role in our overall health. Right? Everything from digestion and immunity to mental health, it all ties back to the gut in some way.
Exactly. So understanding how it develops early on is crucial for promoting lifelong health. And this research is paving the way for potential interventions, like targeted probiotics, that could help establish a healthy gut microbiome from the get-go.
It's amazing how much we're learning about the intricate connection between our gut bacteria and our overall well-being. It's like a whole hidden world inside us, influencing our health in ways we're only just beginning to understand.
Right. It really highlights the importance of taking a holistic approach to health, considering all these interconnected systems. And speaking of connections, there's also some really cool research on using multi-omic approaches to understand complex traits in cows.
Multi-omic, that means combining genetic and transcriptomic data.
Right, exactly. They're using it to identify genes associated with reproductive traits, which could have a major impact on breeding programs and livestock management.
So we're talking about healthier and more productive herds, potentially even better milk and meat production. It's incredible how these tools that were initially developed for human research are now being applied to animal science and agriculture with such promising results.
It's a testament to the versatility of these genomic tools and how they can be adapted to address all sorts of challenges. Speaking of which, have you seen the latest on AI in drug discovery?
Oh yeah, there's a lot happening there. I was reading about how machine learning algorithms are being trained to predict how drugs will interact with specific targets in the body.
It's pretty mind-blowing stuff. It could revolutionize the way we develop new therapies. Think about it. Instead of testing thousands of potential drug candidates, we can use AI to narrow down the search and focus on the most promising leads.
So it's all about efficiency and ultimately bringing new therapies to patients faster. It's like having a virtual assistant for drug discovery, helping scientists sift through mountains of data and pinpoint the most likely candidates.
Exactly. And it's not just about speed, it's also about precision. AI can identify subtle interactions that might be missed by traditional methods, potentially leading to drugs with fewer side effects and greater efficacy.
It's incredible. And speaking of unexpected applications, there's this article about using AI to model CO2 solubility in specialized solutions.
Oh, yeah, that one's interesting. It might seem like a niche topic, but it has huge potential implications for carbon capture and storage technologies.
Which, as we all know, are crucial for mitigating climate change.
Hmm.
I mean, if we can accurately model CO2 solubility, we can optimize the efficiency of those carbon capture processes, right? Make them
Right.
more cost-effective and scalable.
Exactly. It's a great example of how AI can be applied in seemingly unrelated fields to tackle some of humanity's biggest challenges. It's all about thinking outside the box and finding creative solutions.
Absolutely. And on a completely different note, there's also some really fascinating research on using AI for generative modeling of genomes.
Oh, wow, that's cutting edge stuff. We're talking about using AI to create artificial genomes. It
Yep.
could revolutionize synthetic biology and our understanding of life itself.
I know, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. We're talking about potentially designing and creating new life forms from scratch. The possibilities are endless, but also, a little bit daunting.
Definitely. There are some serious ethical considerations that come with that kind of power, but imagine the potential organisms that can clean up pollution, produce biofuels, or even create new materials. It's a whole new world of possibilities.
It's a glimpse into a future that's both exciting and a bit unnerving. And speaking of pushing the limits of what's possible, there's this article about developing 3D holograms of embryos.
I saw that. It's still early days, but the potential is incredible. Imagine being able to visualize the intricate processes of cell division, differentiation, and organ formation in 3D without any invasive techniques.
It's like opening a window into the very beginning of life, seeing how those tiny cells orchestrate this incredible symphony of development.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And it could have a huge impact on our understanding of embryonic development, potentially leading to new insights into birth defects, developmental disorders, and the origins of disease.
Absolutely. And speaking of early detection, there's also this study on networks of pre-diagnostic circulating RNA in testicular germ cell tumors,
Oh, right. They're looking at specific RNA molecules circulating in the blood as early biomarkers for detecting testicular cancer.
which is huge because early detection is key in cancer treatment. The earlier we can catch it, the better the chances of successful treatment.
Exactly, and it highlights the potential of liquid biopsies,
Mm.
analyzing blood or other bodily fluids, to identify cancer-specific biomarkers long before symptoms even appear.
It's a game changer. And it's not just limited to cancer either. This approach could be applied to other diseases as well, leading to more personalized and preventative healthcare.
It's a future I'm definitely excited to see unfold. But, with all these incredible advances come some important questions too. As AI gets more and more sophisticated, we need to think carefully about how we test for human-level intelligence and establish ethical guidelines for its use.
Absolutely. There's this article that discusses OpenAI's latest model, O3, and the ongoing quest to develop reliable metrics for assessing AI's cognitive abilities.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Intelligence is such a multifaceted concept. And as AI systems become more capable of doing things that were once considered uniquely human, we need to develop robust ways to evaluate their capabilities and make sure they're developed and deployed responsibly.
It's like we're venturing into uncharted territory, and we need to make sure we have the right safeguards in place. Another article that really got me thinking was the one about using large language models, or LLMs, for medical reasoning.
Right. LLMs are incredible at understanding and generating text, but relying solely on them for complex medical decision-making is a whole other ballgame.
Exactly. This article emphasized the importance of human oversight and critical thinking in those kinds of situations. It's about using AI to augment human expertise, not replace it.
Absolutely. Especially when we're talking about patient care and treatment decisions, the human touch is still essential. And on a similar note, there's also some interesting discussion about the role of AI in clinical genetics.
Oh, yeah. That field is moving so quickly, with AI being used to analyze genetic data, predict disease risk, and recommend personalized treatment strategies.
It's exciting, but we need to be careful too. We need robust algorithms and ethical considerations to make sure AI is used responsibly and equitably in this field. Everyone should benefit from these advancements, not just a select few.
Equity and access, absolutely. Those are crucial considerations. And speaking of access, there's also this article about developing a digital solution to promote physical and cognitive training for older adults.
Oh, that's a cool one. It's about using technology to empower seniors and improve their well-being. By providing engaging and accessible tools for physical and cognitive exercises, we can promote healthy aging and enhance their quality of life.
It's heartwarming to see technology being used in such a positive way. And it's a reminder that technology can be a powerful tool for good, addressing the specific needs of different populations and improving health outcomes across the board. Speaking of breaking down boundaries, there's also this study that's exploring the integration of genetics and transcriptomics to understand the shared mechanisms between digestive diseases and psychiatric disorders.
It's fascinating, isn't it? They're basically suggesting that seemingly unrelated conditions might actually share underlying biological pathways. That could lead to some really interesting new insights into diagnosis and treatment, potentially benefiting both fields of medicine.
It's like a whole new way of looking at the human body, not as separate systems, but as this interconnected web of interactions. And finally, we have this really cool study on how shallow water mussels adapt to deep sea environments.
Oh yeah, that one was amazing. It highlights the incredible adaptability of life and showcases the power of genomics in understanding how organisms evolve and thrive in extreme conditions. Who would have thought we'd be studying mussels to understand deep sea adaptation?
Right. It just goes to show how much we still have to learn about the natural world and how these genomic tools are opening up whole new avenues of exploration. So we've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm wondering, what are your overall thoughts on everything we've discussed?
Well, I think it's clear that we're living in a truly remarkable time for science and technology. The pace of innovation is just incredible, and the convergence of genomics and AI is creating this incredible synergy that's driving discoveries in all sorts of fields, from healthcare to agriculture to environmental science. It's a really exciting time to be a scientist, that's for sure.
It really is.
Yeah.
But with all this excitement, it's also important to remember that these technologies come with responsibilities. We need to think carefully about the ethical implications and make sure they're used for the benefit of all humankind.
Couldn't agree more. We need to make sure these advancements are used to create a more just and equitable world, not one that exacerbates existing inequalities.
Well said. So let's take a moment to synthesize all we've learned today and discuss the broader implications of these breakthroughs. Where do we go from here? What does the future hold? Wow, we've covered so much ground today. I mean, from diagnosing rare diseases to optimizing tomato harvesting to understanding how mussels adapt to the deep sea. It's been a whirlwind of incredible advancements.
It really has. It's amazing to see how far we've come in such a short time.
Absolutely. And if I had to pick one overarching theme from everything we've discussed, it's the sheer pace of innovation and the convergence of these once separate fields. Genomics and AI, they're not operating in silos anymore. They're intertwining, creating this incredible synergy that's fueling scientific discovery at a rate we've never seen before.
I completely agree. And it's not just happening in research labs either. It's impacting healthcare, agriculture, environmental science, even our understanding of human evolution. It's really quite remarkable.
It is. But I imagine some of our listeners might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the information we've thrown at them. So let's take a step back for a moment and think about the big picture. What are the key takeaways here? What does it all mean?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we're on the verge of a true revolution in biology and medicine. The knowledge and tools we're developing have the potential to completely transform healthcare as we know it.
In what ways?
Well, think about it. We're talking about more accurate diagnoses, personalized treatments tailored to each individual's unique genetic makeup and lifestyle, and even preventive measures that could extend our lifespans and improve our quality of life. It's a future full of promise.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed, it also comes with some challenges, right? Ethical implications we need to consider, ensuring these technologies are used responsibly and equitably.
Absolutely. We can't just focus on the science. We need to have those tough conversations about ethics and societal impact as well. It's a conversation that needs to involve everyone, not just scientists and policymakers, but ethicists and the public at large.
I couldn't agree more. It's about shaping the future we want, together.
Exactly. We have a responsibility to use these powerful technologies for the benefit of all humankind.
Well said. And to wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question, something to ponder as they go about their day. We've seen how AI is becoming incredibly sophisticated at analyzing biological data, from predicting protein structures to identifying potential drug targets to personalizing treatment plans. So the question is, how close are we to a future where diagnoses and treatment plans are personalized down to the individual cell?
Wow, that's a big one. It's a fascinating question, and one that researchers are actively working towards. I think the potential is definitely there. As we continue to unravel the complexities of human biology at the cellular level and develop even more sophisticated AI tools, the possibility of personalized medicine reaching that level of granularity becomes more and more realistic. It's a future that's both exciting and a little bit daunting to think about.
I agree. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of genomics and bioinformatics. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and let's continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in science and technology.
Thanks for having me.